From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Wakers, pearls, and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. To form the Deanest Nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in disguise. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. To reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan, now there's crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined. Where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the largest to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right, this is And You Are Under the Groove. Hey, man, let's get it in. Let me fix this screen right quick. Obviously, I didn't have it together. All right, hold tight. 1 sec, people. 1 sec. There we go. All right. All right. We're going to ride with that for right now. No worries. All right, here we go, man. Welcome to Under the Groove Podcast. This is Touching Bases with the People. I wonder if anybody checked out the title, man, because I think we need to get right into this because I've become aware of some things tonight. Man, but I think everything that happens, man, happens for a reason. You know what I mean? And I'm using for reference, man, this thing that's happening in the Middle East, Iran against Israel, right? So I'm doing my little thing, man. I'm researching and everything, and I come across this piece, some content, that just stopped me in my tracks, man. I don't know if everyone understands the history of Israel and black people, / the history of Iran and black people. And that was new on me, But what I came across, man, it just stopped me in my tracks, man. And it made me think, okay, this is all the more reason why we need to be about just us, because don't nobody else give a damn about us, but they always want our sympathy when it's their time to go through some shit. You know what I mean? I might do a little cursing tonight, man. I'm going to try to, be mindful of that so that, you two won't be on no trip stuff. But, in this respect, man, I really could care less, man, because I think what needs to be shown, what needs to be said about the people of the world, man, these countries in the world, man, how they treat us as a people, man, it's wrong. Put it to you like that. It's wrong. I have a clip. I want to bring this clip in, man, and just chop it up a little bit about this clip, man. I got, man. I think it's worthy. All right. I think it's worthy. Hey, right quick. I see you, Antonio, man. Same to you, B60. Let's get it in, man. Let's focus on this. Focus. Now, some of our brothers and sisters may come a few minutes after I start this thing, man. And, if so, hopefully they'll go back and check it out once it uploads on YouTube, man. But before we get started, man, like, share, comment, follow, and subscribe to Under the Groove Podcast. All right. This is where we be one in everything we do, man. That means black first, man. That's how it's got to be. Because I'm telling you, man, no matter what's going on in the world, we better get ready, man, to do us. All right. I'm going to drop this right quick, man, because I just think it's worth it, man. I just think it's worth it. I want to kind of wait you know, to make sure everybody get aboard what we're going to talk about. Hey, Queen and Zing, I see you. She said, good evening, Royal Group congregation. Happy hump day. And B60 also greetings, salutations to you, Bub, and the RGC B1. Yeah, and Antonio Anthony again, man, salute and love, bro. I'm trying to be patient, man. I'm kind of amped up. I'm energized. I'm kind of fired up, man, just based on what I just ran across, what I ran across earlier in the day. Well, not that earlier in the day, but shit, still. I'm just sitting there looking at this thing, man, like, what the hell? But anyway, that said, what the hell? Let's jump up in here, man. I want to just have this discussion. B60, I think you and Antonio and Queen and Zingo are good to having this get out, man. Hopefully we can kick up some dialogue, man, about this get out. But here you go right here, y'all. Without further ado, let's get it in. And this is courtesy of Black Journals, man. Somebody, I've seen them a few times, man. So I'm gonna have to subscribe to them. You don't? Uh-oh. Sorry about that, y'all. What the hell? Okay. Let me know if you hear me. Somebody let me know if you hear me. I just found out that no one can hear me. Hopefully that'll do it. Can you hear me? Somebody put in the thing if you can hear me, please. All right. That should do it. 360. All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Let me get back into this video right quick.
Right now, your timeline is split in two. Half the people you know are cheering for Israel, the other half are defending Iran. Everybody has picked a side, everybody has an opinion.
Somebody
But I
let me
have
know if you
one
can hear this
question
video.
that neither side wants you to ask. How do they treat Black people? Not in speeches, not in propaganda, not in what they say to the cameras. How do they actually treat Black people who live in their countries, walk their streets, and exist under their laws?
Okay, so for those of you who just pulling up, man, listen. This is the clip I wanted to run tonight because I ran across this. I thought it was very significant, was relevant. We know what's going on in the world, right? Israel and Iran, they're fighting. And there's some of us who say, man, get them, Iran, and others might be like, hey, man, these are God's people, whatever, so I'm riding with them, blah, 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 Little do we actually know about the histories of these countries when it comes to Black people. Oddly enough, I would imagine for some of us, it would be something to learn that Black people they actually exist in Iran as we speak. They have whole populations up to maybe 2 million people. All right. And of course, we have Ethiopian Jews over there, those who were taken out of the Sudan and Ethiopia and relocated in Israel. Right. But there's a history. Little do any of us know that there is an actual history in terms of our being in these locations, geographically speaking, in these areas, and the treatment we've received as a result of being in these lands from these people. Again, I didn't know we were in Iran. That's on me. Cool. Boom. But I thought this was significant enough to bring to, to the RGC, man, just so we can get an understanding now when we about what's going on with the people, that this stuff is going on with this war, me being more specifically. I'm like, now I can give a damn which one have, tell with both of them. But I brought this clip and hopefully you guys can hear it. If you don't hear it, let me know. But let's start this clip up again. Some cold stuff, man.
Right now, your timeline is split in two. Half the people you know are cheering for Israel. The other half are defending Iran. Everybody has picked a side. Everybody has an opinion. But I have one question that neither side wants you to ask. How do they treat Black people? Not in speeches, not in propaganda, not in what they say to the cameras. How do they actually treat Black people who live in their countries, walk their streets, and exist under their laws? Because I went deep on both Iran and Israel. What I found should make every Black person watching this rethink everything they have been told about this conflict.
And there that part is. I want to jump in right quick, man. Did anyone know that they had a Black population in Iran, up to 2 million people? Not only that, but did you know about the treatment they receive? All right. I'm not going to even, spoiler alert, I'm not going to spoil nothing. I want to play this clip for you guys, man. Let me know if you guys are hearing the piece I have up. I hear a couple of yeses. Okay. So let's get back to this, man, because I'm telling you, I was shocked. Fucking shocked, man.
Because neither side, and I mean neither side, has clean hands. Before we go further, subscribe to this channel. This is part of our ongoing series covering the Iran war from the angle the mainstream media refuses to touch. Hit the bell so you do not miss a single video. And let's get into it.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Let's start with Iran. And let's start with something that most people, including most Black Americans, have never heard. Iran has a Black population.
I'm one. Go figure.
Not visitors, not tourists, not temporary workers. There are Afro-Iranians, Black people who have lived in Iran for centuries. They are concentrated primarily in the southern provinces along the Persian Gulf, in cities like Bandar Abbas, Hormozgan, and in the regions bordering the Gulf of Oman. Estimates vary, but researchers have placed the number anywhere from several 100,000 to over 2 million people, depending on how you define the community and how far back you trace the lineage. And the origin of that community is slavery. The Persian slave trade, which overlapped heavily with the Arab slave trade, brought East African people to Iran over a period spanning more than 1,000 years. From the 7th century onward, enslaved Africans were transported from the coasts of what are now Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, Ethiopia, and Sudan into the Persian Gulf region. They were used as laborers, domestic servants, pearl divers, soldiers, and in agricultural work in some of the most brutal conditions imaginable. If you watched our video on the Arab slave trade, and over 150,000 of you did, you already know that this was one of the longest and least discussed slave trades in human history. It predated the transatlantic slave trade by centuries and continued well into the 20th century. Iran did not formally abolish slavery until 1929. Even after abolition, the social consequences never disappeared. Today, Afro-Iranians live in a state of invisibility. They are among the poorest communities in the country. They hold almost no political power. Their cultural traditions, rooted in African music, spiritual practices, and oral history, are marginalized. They are rarely represented in Iranian media, education, or public life. When researchers and journalists have attempted to document their existence, they have been met with resistance from Iranian authorities who would prefer the world did not know this community exists at all. The racism Afro-Iranians face is structural and deeply embedded. The Farsi language itself contains derogatory terms for Black people that are still in common use. Colorism is rampant across Iranian society, with darker skin being associated with poverty, low social status, and undesirability. Afro-Iranian women in particular face compounded discrimination, marginalized for their race, their gender, and their economic status simultaneously. And here is something that connects directly to the war happening right now. The southern provinces where most Afro-Iranians live are among the most neglected regions in the entire country. While Tehran poured resources into its military and nuclear programs, these communities were left without adequate schools, hospitals, infrastructure, and economic opportunity. The Iranian regime spent billions on missiles and proxy wars across the Middle East. Meanwhile, the descendants of enslaved Africans living within their own borders were treated as if they did not exist. Some Afro-Iranian activists have spoken publicly about this. The response from the regime was predictable: surveillance, intimidation, and silence. The protests that erupted across Iran in late 2025 and early 2026 included voices from these communities. And when the government began killing protesters, thousands of them, you can be certain that the lives in those southern provinces were not the ones Tehran was concerned about protecting. So that is Iran, a country with a Black population born from slavery, maintained in poverty, and erased from public consciousness. A country that has never acknowledged, apologized for, or made any attempt to repair the damage done to its Afro-descendant community. Now let's cross the border.
Okay, before we go to Israel, let's have, I just want to chop it up a little bit about that, man. We're gonna keep it, we're gonna run into the Israel part of it. But again, man, here's the situation where, in this day and age, man, damn, that's the first time I've heard that. I have to say that. I'm trying to rack my brain to recall whether or not I've read that or heard that, and I just can't bring it up. Yeah, it changes. It changes the landscape. It changes the thought processes in regards to Iran fighting, the gray Satan. I'm like, I can give a damn, which way that go. And then the treatment of the people over there is like, whoa. Isn't that the same that we've experienced over here? Same thing, right? Same playbook, same play. Slavery lasted until 1929. I thought that some of the Jamaica and places like that were the last places to end slavery, but to know that they were still going over there, man, in Iran, and then to know that we had that many people over there, man, and been over there for such a long time is new to me. So if y'all got some thoughts on that, man, break that shit down for me. Because like I say, I'm in the frame of mind where I'm like, right now, I could care less. I can care less what happened, to the government, the IRGC, and all that whole apparatus, knowing that is taking place, Anyway, let's see, man, what you guys got to say about that, man, before we get started, man. For those of you who are new in this, get down, please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe to Under the Groove Podcast, man. We are touching bases with the people, all right? All right, Rakufu, I see you, man. Did you just check part of that out? That's the first part of it, bro. They got a piece on Israel right now. I'm going to pull up right now, man, so we can get a bar of what Israel is doing or has done to, our brothers and sisters off the continent, you know what I mean? From the motherland. It's like everybody done had a hand in the mistreatment of the original human being, man. Just everybody, man. It's almost as though nobody is exempt from the mistreatment of our people, I'm pretty sure now we can find something on China, Japan, We already know what Australia does, to the Aboriginals over there, but damn. Anyway, Rakufu, how you doing, man? Did I get your number for Rome? Y'all check it out, bro. I'll get it Rome about it, okay? Real spit, bro. Let me hit this out right quick, man. Donald Matthews, what it do, bro? Good to see you front and center, man. Appreciate you. Always. You said sting greetings, my bro. I'm glad to be here with you, bro. One love. I already know. Right back to you. There you go, Chris. Hopefully, not hopefully, make everything be everything on your end with you and your family, brother. Grand rising to you, man. Good to see you back up in this get down, man. I got this thing we talking about. what side we're going to choose now, understanding after we get an understanding in terms of how both sides have treated black people. I'm pretty sure that when it comes to Israel, a lot of us understand, that get down over there. And plus, they make it a point to say out loud that, especially here in America, that, the blacks or black youth or Israel's greatest threat, But in spite of what we see happening over there with Iran, Israel says this about, especially us here in the United States. But Iran is a whole different beast, man. You know what I mean? Just in terms of what that history or what their history is in conjunction with ours, over there. This shit is crazy. I have to say, man. Anyway, hey, man, I love you, bro. Good to see you up in here. Chris, man, let me know what you think about this. Get down, man. If you got it in you. All right. All right. Appreciate you. Okay, good. Everybody hear me. All right. Wild Indian Consul. We hear you, bro. Appreciate that. Hey, man. Peace and blessings. Good to see you up in here with us, Wild. We'll call you Wild Indian, all right? Ruben Judah, man, there you go. All right, look, man, let's get back to this get down, man. First and foremost, man, welcome everybody. Let's do it. Part 2 of this, man. If you didn't catch part 1 of the clip I showed, it talked about Iran and black people or Afro-Iranians in Iran and the treatment of our brothers and sisters over there. In the midst of what's going on now and before that, you know what I mean? The treatment has been nothing short of what we know the treatment have been for us over here, our ancestors. Same thing for them, but their situation seems to be more dire, you know what I mean? Just looking at what they're going through. That being said, let's get to this clip, man. I want to drop this other half, man, on Israel and their treatment of our brothers and sisters, all right? Let me bring this in, man.
Order into Israel and buckle up, because this is where it gets even more disturbing. Israel markets itself to the world as the only democracy in the Middle East, a homeland for the Jewish people, a nation built on the promise of belonging. But if you are a black Jew in Israel, that promise has a very different meaning. There are roughly 170,000 Ethiopian Jews living in Israel today, a community known as Beta Israel. Their connection to Judaism stretches back thousands of years. According to their own tradition, they descend from the tribe of Dan, one of the original 12 tribes of Israel. They maintain Jewish practice, ritual, and identity for centuries in isolation in the Ethiopian highlands, long before modern Israel existed. In the 1980s and the 1990s, Israel launched dramatic operations, Operation Moses, Operation Joshua, and Operation Solomon, to airlift Ethiopian Jews out of Ethiopia and Sudan. Thousands were brought to Israel in what was presented to the world as a heroic rescue, a Jewish state bringing its lost people home. But what happened after they arrived tells a very different story. Ethiopian Jews were placed in absorption centers that functioned more like holding facilities.
How do you give your book the best chance to succeed in 2026? If you finished writing,
they were subjected to a process of cultural erasure. Their religious practices, which had been maintained for millennia, were deemed insufficient. Ethiopian Jewish religious leaders were told their ordinations were not valid. Community members were required to undergo symbolic conversion rituals, essentially being told that their Judaism was not Jewish enough for Israel.
Reprogrammed them.
One of the most disturbing scandals in modern Israeli history emerged in 2013 when it was acknowledged that Ethiopian Jewish women had been given long-acting birth control injections, in some cases without full informed consent. An Israeli investigative journalist exposed the practice. Health officials had been administering Depo-Provera shots to Ethiopian women at transit camps before they entered the country, and continuing the injections after arrival. The birth rate among Ethiopian Jews in Israel dropped by 50% over a decade. When the story broke, the Israeli Health Ministry issued a directive telling gynecologists to stop prescribing the contraceptive if there was any doubt that the women understood the treatment. Let that sink in. A nation that defines itself by the promise of never again was suppressing the birth rate of its black Jewish population. It goes beyond reproductive rights. Ethiopian Jews in Israel face systemic discrimination, in virtually every measurable category. They are disproportionately poor, they face higher unemployment, and their children are overrepresented in the lowest performing schools and underrepresented in universities. Housing discrimination pushes them into segregated neighborhoods. When Ethiopian and Israeli youth have taken to the streets to protest, which they have multiple times, most notably in 2015 and 2019, they have been met with tear gas, rubber bullets, and mass arrests. Police brutality against Ethiopian Israelis has become a defining issue for the community. Video after video has surfaced of Israeli police beating, arresting, and harassing Ethiopian Jewish citizens. In 2019, the shooting of an unarmed Ethiopian Israeli teenager by an off duty police officer sparked nationwide protests. Thousands of Ethiopian Israelis took to the streets. They blocked highways and they demanded justice. The parallels to Black Lives Matter were impossible to ignore, and they were not lost on Black Americans watching from across the ocean. Then there are the African asylum seekers. Tens of thousands of migrants and refugees, primarily from Eritrea and Sudan, entered Israel through the Sinai Peninsula in the 2000s and early 2010s, fleeing war, dictatorship, and persecution. Israel's response was not compassion. The government built a massive detention facility in the Negev desert. Senior Israeli politicians refer to African asylum seekers as infiltrators and as a cancer. Legislation was passed to detain them indefinitely. Deportation campaigns were launched, pressuring Africans to leave for third countries in Africa with cash payments and threats of imprisonment. The message was unmistakable: Jewish or not, refugee or not. If you were Black in Israel, you were a problem to be managed, not a person to be welcomed. And now, in the middle of this war, Israel is asking the world to support its cause. It is asking for solidarity. It is asking Black Americans, some of whom serve disproportionately in the U.S. military, which is currently fighting alongside Israel, to view this as a fight for democracy and freedom. But democracy for whom? Freedom for whom? If you are connecting these dots, hit that like button right.
All right, man. So I just want to drop that, man, on RGC, man. Give us something to really not just to talk about, but something to think about. It's the similarities, man, in terms of the treatment of Black people, no matter where we are, all over this globe, man, are the same. It's just the same. Margaret Sanger did the same here in the United States. They wanted to, make sure that Black women weren't fertile. They brought in the abortion clinics, all this stuff, man, to keep the population down. We see the same thing taking place in Israel. And I recall when that happened, 2013, I was in prison, but I recalled it. I felt a certain way then, just the similarities, man, in terms of how they treat us, how the world has treated us, and it should be, we should be wondering why Blacks all over this world aren't saying be one, Black first, damn everything and everybody else. We have all the reason on this earth to think and be just that way. Okay, y'all want to fight each other, man, go ahead, man, but we got to make sure we're not going to be doing that, so when it's all said and done, man, we'll be the last ones here like we were the first. You know what I mean? Damn. I wonder what, man, let me know what y'all think about this, man, because this was to me, that's some powerful shit, man. And I don't know how I just stumbled up on it, but I did, and I appreciate that I did. Love the fact that I did. It brings a new aspect, I think, to this, to this get down to the RGC, to touching base with the people in the respect that, okay, man, here's all the more reason for us to understand, man, that it's us against the world. No matter where we are, we see the same treatment, the same hatred, the same fear. We're the only ones don't understand, that don't understand that, one, we're not loved and liked. There's a lot of us who actually think we're cool with everybody, or that everybody is cool. I think, though, the treatment of other people when it comes to us is based upon fear. I don't think it's based upon the lack of knowledge of who we are. I think it's the fear because of the knowledge of who we are. You know what I mean? And then I don't care what, race that is, man. It just is what it is. We have the problem when it comes to understanding that we are not loved, man. There is a collective thought process, I think, around the world that says they need to make sure we do not ascend, that we do not excel. And that, I'm telling you, that mindset comes from the fear of the knowledge they have of not our potential, man, but our being chosen, our being anointed, our being sanctioned as the ones. We're the only ones that don't know that, man. And other people will go out of their way to make sure that we don't. Same thing, man. The similarities are just the same thing. Miseducation, lack of education, lack of health care, lack of jobs, lack of respect, compassion, So, hey, man, I just thought it was necessary to drop that, man. And I just want to know what you guys think about that, especially in terms of what's going on in the world today. Now, I was rah-rah and gung-ho, for, Iran to, do the dang thing, get it done. Now, man, I can care less, man. I really can care less, man. Now I understand even more so that, yeah, it is just about us, man. We are all we have, and when we talk about supporting something or someone, it has to be just us. We can't forget everybody else, man. It has to be just us, because that's the mindset of everybody else, just them. But then they have a collective thought when it comes to us, never them. So they look at us the way they look at, the Western powers look at Iran not having a bomb. You know what I mean? But collectively, they say, we can't educate these mugs. We can't let them get nothing, or it'll be over for us. You get it? Oh, man, that it didn't even, initially it almost took the wind out of my sails, but then for whatever, from out of nowhere, man, I was like, yeah, I like the way I think today. You know what I mean? Rakufu said, man, ask the average African-American how to see, hear, feel, talk in, and imagine in Africa consciousness. They cripple mentally like the movie Get Out. Wake up, Africa. You are nothing else. Donald says, man, Donald Matthews, man, truthfully speaking, we are Americanized. And that term Americanized can be referred to as well as Westernized. We are Westernized. You know what I mean? And that's just another word for Americanized. Americanized actually is Westernized, but yeah. You say, Donald, man, truthfully speaking, we are Americanized. We are Americanized. We're loyal to a country that's never been loyal to us. The only thing this country did for us was beat us, rape us, and create new ways to kill us. Wake up, Black. For real. Rakufu says, for real. Yeah, man. You say, see, Bub, this is the problem. We as a people are so far behind in true, pure African consciousness. All right. Not the sellout Africans, but the base, the tribal African revolutionaries, ideological thought process. It is behind. But we say this all the time, Ra. We say, man, what we acknowledge that there has taken place, we suffer from arrested development. You know what I mean? But there's a reason behind that. You know what I mean? There was this effort, this applied, concerted effort to make sure that we did not develop, educationally, spiritually, you know what I mean? Mentally, socially, things of that nature, that was an effort. In fact, it still goes on to this day, here we are, man. Here we are. Now, we say here a lot, okay, We understand all that, man. You know, we understand that we're far behind, man. We're so far behind. You know, our mental development, all that, man, has been arrested, man, for so long. We know what the causes are in terms of why we are like we are, and yet we refuse to act on re-educating ourselves, you know, reconditioning our minds, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Reapplying ourselves not as a part of society, but as a whole different society. We ain't got it, man. We ain't figured it out, you know? So I'm saying that to say, yeah, man, okay, we understand. When will we say enough is enough? When will we get it together, man? When will we acknowledge, yeah, that, you know, we're so far behind in our African consciousness? We know this. Now, how do we get on pace? That's the question. What is it we supposed to be doing, man? Because we're missing something. This is 2026, man, and this is still going on. And I'm telling y'all, this is my thought on the whole issue. The whole thing is, it is us here who will be the ones, if it's ever to happen, to change the world, man. That's just, I'm telling you, it's in my core, you know. You know, the ancestors speak to me about us, about that. It's us here that we're the only ones can make this shit happen, man. You know, to bring this thing, you know, together, you know. Shit, I just hate watching that, man. You know, Ross said, man, now you got to look them outsiders straight in their cold snake eyes and deal with them. Be first. I say, man, you know, I say don't deal with them anymore. You know, I think that's the thing too, man. We're too quick. We're too accepting, you know. And it's the cold part about that is we're more accepting of them than we are our own kind. That's a problem, man. We're too accepting, man, and forgiving. You know, we want to appease people and please them, and man, all that, man. You know, we have to get together, man. Yeah. Ross said, man, I'm so glad you dropped this so you can comprehend why I feel the way I feel about our people betrayed our African culture for theirs. Yeah, man. Donald goes on to say, man, every disease known to man, what's created by white people to hurt and kill other people. Why do we expect anything different from them? Huh? It's mind-boggling. Real spit, man. We know what the process is in terms of us and them. It's been this way for hundreds of years, way longer actually, but we know. And yet, man, we still caught in this shit like this. What's crazier still is that there are so many of us talking on the level that we're on now. We you know, conscious of what's going on. And yet, man, there's been no movement. There's been no movement, man. There's been no real effort to correct us. You know, we can't go and call ourselves correcting somebody else for what they've done to us. We have to correct first the effects within us that was done to us or put on us by them. We got to get us right first, man. You know, and I think the way we go about a lot of stuff is backwards. We always, we as a people always put the cart before the horse, man. I don't understand that shit, man. But hey, you know, crazy, man. All right, J15062 said, man, Israel owns 99% of these politicians through the AIPAC. You better believe it. You better believe it. That is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. This is a lobby. Something in the news just today, man, about Hakeem Jeffrey. The shit get blew out of water. He gets exposed. He's been their puppet for over 10 years. Same guy that get in front of the camera last week or 2 weeks ago talking about Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that, black people this, black people weird time, and you playing the game with him, bro. Playing the game with him, all in. Yeah, man, 99%, man, if not the whole damn apparatus, man, everybody that's in it, are bought and paid for, man. You could tell, man, just, you know, this shit is just crazy. And that's another issue we talk about, Jay, here on this Get Down, man. We say, man, again, we know the effects of what's been done to us because we live them. We live, you know, we live in it, live through it, you know, that's how we function. But at some point, we have to get it together. We have to start re-educating ourselves. We have to start pushing our young brothers and sisters to go to schools, man, or to be, you ain't even got to go to these schools because you're not really going to get that like you're supposed to. But education is missing. And if we educate brothers and sisters right, we can start replacing our people, you know, from that level we own, man. Most of these people, man, they will never understand what we're going through. So they will never do, or they will not do what they're supposed to do for the people. You know, chances are we get some, you know, we might tend to think there's some of the right people, put them in there and they do the same thing. I don't know. But I think it comes from the effort in terms of educating, you know, our people, man, one another, you know, and not just educating them, man, loving them, respecting them, giving that understanding of what dignity should be about, what it needs to be about, how it should be represented, you know. Without all that, man, yeah, man, they'll continue to own the political apparatus in this country and every black man and woman that go up in that structure. That's just what it is, you know, unless we change it. The IPC, man, in full effect, man, they got all kind of shadow packs, man. You know, they go about at the back door, round the way, man, you know, boom, drop them $1 million, say, man, go get that one. Get him voted in office, man, and let them know who got him in. So when we come calling, you know, they'll respond. Boom. That's what it be, man. Crazy. Donald said, man, we're disrespected all over the world, and we're still begging folks to love and accept us. Why don't we accept us? Facts, man. That's the problem. We're always looking for their approval, man. And again, I say that's part of the conditioning. That's part of the indoctrination. It's part of how they indoctrinated us with inferiority complexes, man. You know, we've been conditioned to see ourselves as inferior. This is why a lot of us, we see a lot of our people acting the way they do, you know, selling out and everything else, man, looking for approval, you know, looking for love, looking for respect, you know, just looking to be seen. Most of our people are in that state of mind. They just want to be seen for all the wrong reasons, you know. No, man. This again, y'all know, man, we got a lot of work to do. All right, Regina G7 said everybody has had a hand in our demise. Facts. Well, more than that, just the dismantling of the black man and woman's mind, you know, mind as well as soul, spirit, and our bodies, man. Every one of them. And I mean it, man. When I say every one of them, they ain't even got to be all clear people. I'm just talking about everybody, man. And it's so bad to where we learn this shit through conditioning, through indoctrination, man. We learn how to treat each other the way they treat us, man. And then the coldest part about it, and we talked about this, RGC, we'll treat them way better than we'll treat us. Yeah, man, part of our unraveling, part of our demise is that conditioning, that indoctrination, or indoctrinating that we are inferior, man. We're only superior to one another, you know, but we're inferior to them. So they just kill us off, man, any old kind of way. I was talking to my wife the other night. For the life of me, I can't understand brothers or sisters who get caught. I don't know if that's even a word for it, but end up lynched in the South in this day and age. I'm thinking, and I'm telling my wife, I don't get that. There's no way. Man, I wouldn't give a damn if it was the police trying to pull me over in the middle of the night on some road. Man, you got to be, man, I'm not even stopping. I'm not even gonna stop, man. You know, and not only that, I'm gonna do a whole lot of other shit to make sure, you know, hey, you know, leave some evidence or something. You know, if I'm walking, y'all got to catch me, man. Can't no white boy catch me. I'm 62 years old. White boy still won't be able to catch me. You get what I mean? It just wouldn't be that simple. What's wrong with us to where, yeah, man, we just a scum. We just give in, man, to them. But let this be another brother upon another brother, man, to the death. We'll fight to, don't care if you got a gun. We'll fight you, but not them. That's crazy. This is some crazy stuff, man. We witnessing some crazy times, man. These people over there got everybody, well, at least they had me. Like, hey, man, yeah, get them. Get the U.S. Get it. Yeah, man, you know. All alone, man, y'all in the same boat. In the same boat, man. Shit. I didn't care one flying flick about what happened to them, man. I mean that. Yeah, Donald, I agree with you, man. I agree. We need to stop looking for others to care about us, y'all. And we have to start caring about ourselves. But I'm going to tell you something too, though. And I'm knowing you know this, bro. There are so many distractions out there, man. And again, that's not by mistake. There are so many distractions put out there, especially in front of us, more than anybody else. You know, those distractions, they hinder us, y'all. You know, they hinder us from doing the work we supposed to be doing. You know, we supposed to be taking care of not just each other, but ourselves so that we can take care of each other. We're not even doing that. We're not even doing that, man. Again, our priorities are messed up. And that's because of all these distractions. The worst thing that's happening to us today, y'all, is social media. It's like the new crack cocaine, the new meth, whatever drug it is, man. This shit is more addictive to our people, man, than any drug that people are ingesting, drinking, shooting up, or sniffing. That's how bad it is. And we again, here's the situation. We ain't figured it out. You know, we ain't figured it out. And if some of us have, you know, we're like, oh, well, you know, same attitude, same mentality a lot of us had when crack cocaine hit the set, hit the streets. All we saw were dollars. You know, we didn't see the destruction, man, you know, the unraveling of the community, man, that, you know, we were partaking in, man. We didn't see that shit, you know. Same thing going on here with this social media, but I think it's worse. I think it's way worse, man. Crazy, man. Rakufu said, man, remember, I said this before about Palestine and Iran and Israel and all of them. They had the slave trade before. I remember you mentioning something about Palestine and their hatred and dislike for blacks. I recall that. I do recall that. I'm more mad at myself, man, than mad at these people because, you know, hey, I didn't let one slip by me, y'all. I hate that. All right, Poke, I see you, man. All right, still at work getting it in, all right? Understood, my brother, understood. Yes, yes. Peace and blessings, man. All right? One love. Focus on the focus. Man. Okay, I'm a, yeah, man, shoot. This shit got me kind of like peeved, man. It's real stuff. Okay, Rakuf, I'm went down, man, because you saying some stuff, you know, I appreciate you saying it too. South Africa had the nuclear bomb, but as soon as a black man came into the power, Nelson Mandela, they took the bomb back to Europe. Did they now? Because I'm still under the impression that South Africa still has the bomb. I'm gonna have to check that out, man. But that would, that be the case. If that is the case, yeah, right. Why would we give control to something like this, something of this magnitude to one of them? What I've said though, and again, I stand correct on a lot of shit, man, just in the last 24, 48 hours, but still it was said. The same way, let's say before Nelson Mandela got in there, South Africa had a bomb. And for whatever reason they had it on that continent, the only one. Only thing Egypt has one. In fact, I know Egypt doesn't have one. But, as long as they were there in control of it, it was fine, As soon as Nelson come in, like you said, they took the bomb back. I've got to really research that. But it's just like with Iran and United States and Israel is saying, no, don't give them this. Why not? Why not? Why? Every country should have one. It's an equalizer. It makes the playing field level. It would actually be that deterrent that keeps other states, bullies, other countries from bullying other countries. You know what I mean? Diplomacy would have to work then, or it'll be the end of everybody, But yeah, South Africa losing this bomb, I was not aware of that. I'm going to have to look into that, man. Thanks for that bit of information. Man. Anthony Tibbs said, man, you real, all right. All right, you MF right, bud, for real. I need to find that in terms of what you do, okay. All right, we need to link our kings and queens that way. All right, none at all as whole. Okay, I'm missing that, but anyway. Hey, man, ain't that some of the dumbest stuff? To have our brothers and sisters in the streets, man, just being ignorant, man, about what's really going on, but they will record themselves or record others, you know what I'm saying, doing just, asinine things, man. The type of stuff that get you put in jail for the rest of your life, or, have somebody on your head that'll take your life, Ain't that some of the dumbest stuff, man? The dumbest stuff. Donald said, man, again, if we would really, truly study our history, we'll understand what it truly is. Yeah, and we don't have to wait for nobody to tell us, We were talking about that, Donald, last week or so. We were talking about actually AI and how I asserted that AI does not have all the information. And there's a reason for that. And that's intentional. They coded just what they wanted AI to have, because like I was trying to say or express that, to put everything in AI, to code everything they know into AI would then give us, a level playing field in a lot of ways, because then we could really, research and find out, historically who we are. We can go back, all kind of shit would come out, right? And who would be benefiting from that? Who would be at a disadvantage because of it? So AI don't have all the information. No, I said they got it. They got it locked away in the Vatican. They got it locked away in DC, man. They got it locked away in Germany, France. They got it. They got it locked away in Russia, and then nobody willing to give it up. Why? If it wasn't a big issue, yeah, they'd put it in AI. We'd be able to research immediately. We would come into the know so quick that, in that respect, the world would begin to change rapidly, but, that's not the intent. That wouldn't be wise. It just wouldn't be wise, not at all. But yeah, that information, man, that we need, man, most of it is locked away. You know, we might be able to get some history to go back maybe 2,500 years. You know, we're not going to really get that type of history, understanding of our history and identity that take you back 35, 45, 60, 60. All right. Well, 6,000. I'm talking about, see, I'm thinking 60 in my mind, 60 since 6,000 years, but that'd be something else too. They may have that too. But anything 6,000, 7,000 years ago, man, I'm pretty sure they got it. You know, they got it, you know. So yeah, we got to get into this education thing, man. We got to learn what our history is, man, our identity. We have to learn our identity, man. You know, we have to educate ourselves, man, just because we doing bad, bro. Them people over there treating our people like they treat us here, or like they was treating them in South Africa, you know, or in Israel, Europe, and on the continent, you know, but nothing different. The same, that get down just resembled everything they do, man, wherever we are. It's all the same playbook. And that's sad, man. That's some messed up stuff. Yeah. Iran. Godly Afro-Iranians. And they going through it, boy. Wasn't no infrastructure over there, man. At least it didn't look like it. You know. Looked a little worse off than, if you can recall, the little black kids look back, you know, in the days in the 50s in New York, you know, Watts, not necessarily Watts, but, you know, New York had it bad. Kids are motley, you know what I'm saying, dirty, you know, just dilapidated buildings everywhere. You know, life was hard, you know. It looked like that times two, you know what I mean? Our people always got to, it's like, please others, you know. What sense does that make, man? I'm fucking pissed off about this shit. Yeah, man, I appreciate that comment though, Ra. That was some solid stuff. I remember you talking about that a little more than a month ago about Palestine, you know, because everybody's up in arms about them. And, you know, you say, hey, man, you know, they don't even like us over there, you know. In fact, they just like, you know, them Ish people, you know what I mean? And them Zionists, and just like, you know, these Westerners, same mentality. Like, what? You know. True though, man. That's what it is. Donald Matthews said, man, if we as a people, as a black people, would only study history, true history, then we would understand that Iran and Iraq played a major role in enslaving Africans. Okay. Yeah, you did. I read that already. Yeah, the Arabs, you know, period, you know, had a hand in that, man. I don't know, man. That right there threw me for a loop, y'all. I gotta say. It threw me for a loop, man. But that's fine. Here we go. Here we go. It makes me want to pull up something else, man. I was checking out just in terms of us, you know, what we're going through, man. And well, let me get back to this, man. So what we see going on in the Middle East, man, I hope we understand as a people that shit is gonna affect us in one way or another. In fact, in more ways than one. Not one way or another, but in more ways than one. We will get, again, I was saying this the other night, the shit end of the stick. It's always been that way. It's always been that way, man. Anytime these people go to war, man, in some capacity, we suffer, you know, or we end up fighting their wars, you know what I mean? Or suffering as a result of their wars. It's always been that way in shit, man. I would imagine that it will continue to stay that way if we don't decide to get ours together, man, and change, you know what I'm saying, the paradigm. You know, change the way things are done, man. Looked at, you know. We got to get it together because this stuff here, man, some serious stuff. Oh, man, I appreciate that, man. Loved one said, man, look, man, The power and true knowledge that we seek is within us, bro. But we're looking outside of ourselves, praying to find our true savior, which is us. Think on that one. I've said this, I say it, man. I've said I'm appreciating that you're saying it. I say to us, man, to our people, man, as much as I can, man, we are our saviors. We are. And then I went one further. I said, man, in fact, we are the saviors of the world. You know, no one else is going to be able to do this. Like no one else is going to be able to save us. That's our job. You know, just as well, it is our job to save the world because it's ours. You know, how we got here, what I don't know, man. But one thing I do know, man, there is no other person on the face of the earth has a connection with the earth like we do. You know, we are our saviors. There's no one else that's going to come save us, man. Nothing out of the sky, man. You know, nothing inside the ground going, you know, you ain't get, you know, it's on us. It's on us. Facts, man. And we don't accept that, man, then hell, shit, we deserve, you know, because again, we have to be accountable. We're in this position because I think that, you know, in a lot of ways, a lot of us accept it. A lot of us do, you know, we accept, you know, this position we're in, you know, just like I was saying earlier, a minute ago about how the drug game came. And man, we was quick to accept it. We were quick to accept it, man. And that would even hold true for even game banging to some extent, you know, just quick to accept it, you know, rather than saying, all right, man, wait a minute. This is wrong. You know, this shit don't serve me and don't serve my people, you know, and if I don't do something, then we'll be lost. You know, a lot of us don't look at it like that. Okay, how can I save us? How can I save me? And in the process of saving me, I save my people. You know, to say education is the key, that's true. But then again, man, you got so much at work against us or against you, the individual that I'm speaking about right now. But, you know, in terms of the whole, you know, but you got so much working against you, man, that damn, man, where is even the time of the day, right? To get a lot of shit done. Or especially that part of you that needs to be worked on, you know, or brought into this new frame of mind, thought of being, you know, shit, man, you got jobs, you got this, you got that. And again, like I said, you have all these distractions. That's half the battle right there, you know, half the battle, man. You know, the truth of the matter is we cannot function as human beings unless we're paying bills. You know, we can't even survive. We've been extracted, taken away from just being natural people, just organic people in tune, man, in line, aligned with nature, you know, the world, you know. That would be a struggle, man, in and of itself. Yeah, man. Let's be soldiers for our people. Let's bang for our people. Another statement I made, people, was about our young brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters, period, who are in the streets, right? A lot of us don't recognize or realize, man, that those are our soldiers. You know, they just haven't come to the understanding to the point where they understand that they're supposed to be soldiering for the people, not against the people. You know, I've always said that, man. So I appreciate you saying it, Donald. Though, you know, we're supposed to soldier for our people. We're supposed to bang for our people, for the real causes that is about us. B1 actually have a meaning, man, and I love it every time we say it, man. Black first. We supposed to be doing this work, man. Nobody else, man. And this is why nobody else is doing it. They see it, you know, correctly. Why the hell would I do that for y'all? It's y'all job. Same thing, same way we tell the Mexicans in terms of what they're dealing with, you know, with migration, immigration, or whatever you want to call it, ICE, DHS. Hey, that's y'all's baby. You know what I mean? Raise it. You know what I mean? That's y'all's issue. Handle it. Same apply, man. The same applies. You know, and what's bad about this though, yeah, it applies us. I mean, this is what we tell people, hey man, that's your business, handle it, man. We did ours, you do yours. We're not even doing ours. That's what's so bad about it. We've been in this stuff so long, man. Wouldn't any of us think logically like, okay, we've been in this how many centuries? Okay, we ain't figured this shit out yet. We ain't handling it. We not even dealing with the advice we giving others. We are not handling it. You know, we come off as though, okay, we on point with our shit together, man. Fuck what y'all say here. No, it ain't. It's really not. You know, and hey, that's sad. That's some sad shit. I like to know, Donald, and because you know you're in it, and this go for you too, you as well, Ra. What would be, you know, seriously speaking, just looking at everything, seeing it how we see it, and we're talking about our people, we're talking about these communities, man, these brothers and sisters in the communities, man. How do we go about? How do we even begin? What's the first step we take, man, to bring awareness to what the hell is really going on, man, to our brothers, man, and our sisters in the street? How do we approach that? How do we approach that, man? You know, and that question go for anybody in the RGC right now or listening to this. Get down, man. What would be the first thing to do, man? If we're talking about, okay, we got to get it together, man. Oh, man, it's our job. It's on us. We got to do it. You know, we are our saviors. How do we go about doing that? What is the first thing, man, we must do? You know, because I'm kind of lost sometimes, man, when I think about it. I'm pretty sure there are certain, you know, avenues we could take, you know, certain course of action, you know what I mean? But, you know, just because I think that doesn't mean that's the right way, you know. But what would be a way that would entice others, man, or have others want to be involved in seeing our people correct the way we get down, you know? I'd like to know that. All right, Lisa Moore said, Grand Rising, big bro, blessings, peace, and love to all the kings and queens in the chat. B1 is black first, y'all. We have to be first, man. We are not first in terms of how we deal with our lives, man, and what we're going through. We don't put us first, man. Everything and everybody else comes before us. That's wrong. And that may be the reason why we are in the position we are in. We haven't broken, man. You know, we say we free, but the chains, the remnants of the so-called broken chains are still around us, man. You know, and in fact, we just broke them from around the neck down. Our minds are still locked. It's still on lock, man. That's part of the problem, I think. But how do we get to that point to where we break the psychological change, man, that got us binded in this, that just got us bound, locked in this shit? All right, Donald, you saying, man, we need to stop acting like we're scared to show the world that we really trust and love each other. We're doing it, bub. We just need more of us to get with the program. I commend you, bro. Yeah, right. There's a lot of it. And the fact that you're in here and you're saying what you're saying is, you know, you're a part of this get down, man. So I commend you as well. Okay, but here's a reality. In a lot of respects, you know those saying though, bro, D-Bird, how those saying, you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, man, that holds true. That rings true, man. We can say to our brothers, man, and they will nod, yeah, you right. And guess what, man? Hour later, next day, man, same old shit. You know? And that's why I asked, man, what solutions, you know, how do we go about getting brothers not to just, yeah, man, and agree to some shit we talking about, man, but to work towards that which we're talking about that's going to improve all our lives. In fact, man, we we're so deep in this stuff, man. We might not, depending on where it's going now, we may not see the change our damn selves. Those of us who, got a little age on them. Again, I'm committed to living to that point where I know, oh, we in now, make myself live, to that point, and I'll be all right leaving after I know it's all good. The people will be all right, But yeah, a lot of us are scared to show the world. Well, a lot of us are scared or frightened to show one another that love, damn showing the world that, we ain't got to show the world nothing. I think that's part of our problem too. But I think the issue is with a lot of us, man, we're in fear or we're scared, man, for whatever reason, man, to show the next brother, man, just like you love and respect. That's the hurdle we need to find a way to get over first. That thing that's blocking us, man, from getting to one another in love and respect and unity. There's this wall right here, man. There's this obstacle. Something is stopping us, man. All right. That's the one. That's the one I want to address, man. How do we get past that to where we are showing each other love, respect, and unity? That's the one. And you're going to say, Donald, bro, we won't be able to save everybody. Some of our peoples would be casualties of war. Sad to say. However, that's a fact, bro. Only those with that revolutionary spirit will stand up. And we've had that discussion. We understand that. Okay, so in that being the case, where are these brothers? Like, we talk, but where are these other brothers? Where in the road are we meeting and we are starting to affect that curriculum, that mindset, whatever that may be, man, that's going to get us started. I think we're already fine-tuned here. A whole lot of us. We are not moving. There's no motion. I mean, for real motion, man. I can't speak, and I'm talking about California, man. I'm talking about LA. I'm talking about LA, man. Let's be real, man. And I'm talking about LA on a level of scale to where it is readily seen that there is unification taking place. And ain't nobody talking about no colors or no neighborhoods, no sets, no streets. You know what I mean, man? How do we get to that? Brothers start coming together, man. That's what I'm talking about. And I know you are as well, We have to get to that point where we're pushing that again. And it becomes it's this verb for real. We're at work. We're getting it done, man. Again, I told brother, man, I showed the video that he did, Big Miz, man. Big Miz did that, man, and I felt like, damn, I need to do that. Damn what I want. I need to do that. Talking to the wife about it, hey, man, I want a mentor. I really do. I really do, man, because I think that's part of what's needed, that goes to what I'm asking. Okay, how do we begin, doing this thing or bringing it together, putting motion into, to our thoughts, you know what I mean? I think that's one way, mentoring our brothers, So if somebody need a mentor out there, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help mentor brothers and sisters. And I'll bring some of my nephews with me, some grandkids with me, Yeah, I'm down with that. Kimberly Mitchell, what's up with it, Queen? Kimberly say, hey, Hoover, hey, real ones, I'm here listening. We need to check our spirits, fast, and pray for each other. It's magical, and something will change. It's a continuous thing every month. We lose our power. So we have to stay on point. Got you. Can't slack up. You know, you can't be okay for a week. I'm cool. Then next week, hey, man, that shit exhausts me. You know, I'm going to kick you for the week. Yeah, no, yeah, you got to keep that energy up. I get it. Makes all the sense in the world. Appreciate you, sister. Yeah, that's the thing, man. We got to figure out how to go about doing this thing, man, because, you know, again, we're talking about it. That's cool. That's cool. But at what point does this become a curriculum? When do we start acting on this, man? You know, when do we start? Again, I just said, I'm all for being a mentor. Again, man, if somebody know a program that needs a mentor in LA, let me know. Let me know. You know, I'm there. I don't have a problem with it. I think that's part of the responsibility. I think that's what part of my atonement is or should be about. In fact, I don't even have to attach atonement to it. It should be something we all understand and recognize as a responsibility, an obligation, you know, to not just ourselves, but our people. I'm more than down with that. More than down with that. Yeah, so that's what's happening in the world, man. We got two powers, two, countries fighting one another. And both of these countries have done us blacks a disservice throughout history, And I don't care if it was just yesterday it happened. So what? You did that to us. But here it is. The world is on the brink of World War III because of two countries' mistreatment of people and each other. You know what I mean? That's really what it boils down to, man. And, yeah, man. Three countries, excuse me. Three of the main ones. We're in a situation, man, to where, man, we blacks will end up suffering more than anyone else. We will get the shit end of the stick. It's just the way it plays out. And that, that's not acceptable. So I don't mean to make it sound so, I don't mean to sound so cavalier about it. Oh, that's the way it is. No, man. That as well needs to stop. And you people want to go and fight each other and do what y'all do. Okay, man. But we don't want that to affect us in no harm or in no form or fashion. That should be the thought processes of that. And not just that, but once we start to think like that, we mean what we're thinking and we say it like we mean it, we start to act on it. Like, no, man, your army, your men, no, they ain't got nothing to do with me. Matter of fact, you get a whole lot of money. My community first. Take care of my, you want me? You want my help? My community need 20 billion. The same 26 billion y'all sent to Israel. My community and a lot of our communities just like it. A lot of other communities just like it could have used that 26 billion. Send that over there. Work it out with our people, man. And then, we could talk about it. If that ain't happening, we got to get it together, man. We ain't got no co-ops. We ain't got nothing. We don't grow food together, nothing. We produce nothing. And yet we are in the middle of all their BS, man. We are smack dab in the middle of it. That's only because we have nothing. If we had anything, man, we could be like, hey, all right. Y'all have at it. Ain't our business. Sad, man, but true. All right. I see you, loved one. What it do, James? Salute right back, bro. Good to see you up in here, man. Yeah, man. Hey, Donald, you never lied, though, man. That's some true stuff right there. We're our only hope. We are our own saviors, man. And I'm telling y'all, we go about this right. We get on the ball like we supposed to. We are actually the saviors of the world, man. We had our shit together, man. We be able, all this shit we see going on in the world, man, we eliminate that quick. Like, no, not in our world. We'll lay claim to the earth as ours. And everybody will believe it. Not just that, they'll buy it. They will respect it. But until such a time, man, when we carry ourselves, man, so, in that dignity, in that air of royalty, you know what I mean? if we were so magnanimous, so just the mother, yeah, when nobody doubted, when nobody doubted, when nobody doubted, man. They already follow everything we do, right? They do. Shit, man. All we have to do is be the example, though, in another sense. We have the example, man, in entertainment. We create shit, man, that everybody like to do, da 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 da. Where are we as the example of those who are the most positive on the planet? Of those, we're the example of those who have the greatest, actually the only connection with the planet, with the atmosphere. Where are those examples, man? Make them want to be us. They want to do everything we do. They want to be just like us, but they don't want to be us. If we were ourselves, man, and we were representing who we are, how we are truly connected to all the powers that be, man, and I don't mean in the human sense or, mankind, that energy, that force. Come on, man. We represent it like that, man. They would want to be us, and they would not be ashamed or afraid to admit it. We got to get it together, man. That's just my take on it. And again, I'm not, hey, I'm man, we are in a lot of ways individuals, man, but at the same time, man, we are also a unit. We're also one, man. That's just it. Be one. We are a part of that get down, man. And until we get that, man, to where we all just, these people, man, there's no need or no reason, we got to stop separating ourselves, and putting others on pedestals, man. We got to be one and the same. We going about life the way that they go about life, like a Westerner. They are so unnatural, man, in everything they do, man. Everything they do is just unnatural. It's actually against our nature to be like this. Just straight up, man. We are one. We one and the same, man. We all function off the same frequency, man. We got to get together, man. That's all I'm saying. We have to, man. I mean, we don't, we done, man. Or like I said, at the very least, this fight would seem just impossible. Like it's just insurmountable, man. Every day we look up at something else. We got this war going on. Like I said, man, we're going to feel that. Some people already are, Gas is going up, man. Food, as a result, gas goes up, then that means, to operate any form of transportation, it's going to cost you money. You know what I mean? So if that goes up, then transportation costs goes up. And if that goes up, then the transportation, those things that bring groceries to the groceries go up. Everything's going to go up. Who suffers the most? Who suffers the most? We do. We do. And that's not to forget, that's not to miss mentioning our brothers and sisters in harm's way behind bullshit. Some say, oh, it's Trump trying to hide from the Epstein files. That might be true. The Zionist state got something on him. They got the whole file Epstein had, right? So, hey, man, you got to do our bidding, man, because, this is what we want. Land grab, resource grab, So we on other people's time, man. That's what's messed up, man. That's what's messed up. Oh, man, Brother Donald says, man, truthfully speaking, when it comes to a great example of how we should move as a people is the Nation of Islam. I know white folks tell us to stay away from them, but the nation represents pure unity. Well, break that down for us. How so? How so? Now, what about this aspect of it, though? First, hold that thought. What about this aspect of it? What about those brothers and sisters who don't want to have nothing to do with man-made religions? What about them? Good brothers and sisters, warriors. for the cause of the people, man, whatever it may be. But they don't want to have no relationship, man, with religion. What about them, man? Then how do we deal with them? Do we exclude them? You know, do we treat them any different because they don't want to follow a certain, you know, faith or religion? How does that work? You know, the Christians on one hand say, hey, man, this the only way you can get to where you're going to be. You know, you want to go to heaven, you got to accept Jesus, you know. You born into the life of sin. What the hell you mean? Then we have Islam. And whatever the principles or the tenets of Islam is, it is still both of them. Listen, bro, in all due respect, respectfully, there are certain things, man, that keep us from being natural, man, in religion, period. For a lot of us, man, we tend to think that religion is just a control mechanism. You know, it doesn't allow people to be free to think, man. Melanated people think, man. This is how they got to be so great back in the day. They were allowed to think. You know, they wasn't repressed, oppressed, suppressed by religion. When are we going to start saying, okay, man, let's put everything in perspective, man. Let's get an understanding. We don't have to be religious to come together. What about that? What about that? You know, again, man, that's respectfully I'm saying that. You know what I'm saying? You know, unity with us is supposed to be a natural thing, you know, in its purest form, you know, and that comes from our love for one another. That comes from our identity. You know what I'm saying, man? That didn't come from religion per se. No. Us having an identity in terms of where we come from. And that identity is attached to one thing, man. We all come from that same place, man. As a people, as human beings, you know. A lot of us just know that, you know. A lot of us accept spirituality without attachments. You get what I'm saying? It's just what it is sometimes. And sometimes we, brothers and sisters, have to accept that. You know, have to accept that. When a time comes when religion does not have a capitalist base attached to it, I might be all in. Straight up. I might be all in, man. You know, until such a time, man, I don't want, you know, me. I don't have nothing to do with religion. You know, you know, that's just me. You know, I'm not one of them brothers. I'm just spiritual, man. I think I know how to function in this world spiritually without any attachments. You know, and this is what, again, we have to accept from one another, bro. That some of us are different in terms of how we think, you know, in terms of how we see things, you know what I mean? And we don't see them just to be confrontational. We don't see them to just be, you know, at odds with our brothers. We just see them that way, man, because it works for us. You know what I'm saying? It works for the individual. But it works in such a way where, man, okay, I'm not even a part of that, but I love, man, I'm going to love and embrace you and respect you, though you are part of Christianity or Islam. That's not going to affect me in no form or fashion. I respect your gay, man. You still my brother. I can still identify with you because you're a black man. You know what I mean? We come from the same place, man. Our education is the same. Our dignity should be on the same level. You know? That's just my take on that, bro. You know, again, man, I don't knock nobody about they get out. You know, that ain't me, man. I don't press nobody, man. I gave up religion, man, in 1985, bro. Period, point blank. You know, same year, same day I gave up saying the N-word. Stop eating pork. My mama used to think I was a Muslim. Wouldn't eat no pork. You know? But no, they ain't got nothing to do with it. You know, it was just my connection with me, my soul, how I see things, you know, my philosophy. It matters. I shouldn't have to have someone else's philosophy locked in my brain to make me think or feel, you know, that, you know, I'm doing something right because that's what is said I should do. Nah, man. Nah, that I don't think that's cool, you know. But again, it's not for me. I don't think it's cool for me. Again, man, brothers and sisters, man, whether you fear the Lord, man, or you abide by, you know, the Quran and you know, all that stuff, man, I ain't got no problem with it. I don't have no, you could be, you know, Judaism, man, you could be Buddhist. I don't care. How do you interact with me as a human being is what matters. Do I feel that vibe with you is what matters. You know, that's it. That's it. Can we work together? Because we human beings. We're melanated. We should be able to. Shouldn't nothing get in the way of that. First and foremost, you are a human being. First, you know, this is where we mess up at. This is where we go wrong at, man. You know, and that's just my thing on that, bro. You know, again, you already know. And if there's any doubt, man, please allow me to, you know, just clear that up, man. Love and respect to the most. All right, real respect. You know, we have an obligation, man, to put everything aside, man. Everything that may have contributed to where we are today, that got us in this position. I'm not pointing fingers at nothing. I'm just saying, think about that. Think about that. Same way the Christians did our folks. Same way we looking at how Iran did Afro-Iranians, how the Zionists did Ethiopians. You know, the same way Christians did blacks. Same way Muslims did blacks. Hey, man, a lot of this stuff, man, it ain't wired right. You can't, something ain't right about it, you know? There can't be that type of righteousness, man, in the world. But me, I can't push that if I don't see it as righteous. You can't have a history that does something to human beings, man, that amounts to atrocities, man, or genocide or anything. And no, I will not. It's like gang banging, man. Wait a minute, man, this shit wrong, man. And this is coming from somebody who gang banged. This shit we say, you know, who gang banged. Wrong, man. It's wrong. I can't be with that, man. You know, we have to be able to be human beings, man, without all these attachments. This is what's fucking us up. Everything that's been told to us, been fed to us, everything we're indoctrinated with, everything we've been conditioned, it's an attachment, man, to keep us messed up. We can't even think straight, man, without having to think of something or somebody else helping us to get to where we need to be. We can't even think for ourselves, man. Every thought we have has to be attached to something that's going to make our lives better, man. We don't even look to self for that. That's a problem, homie. To me, you know? So again, man, just in all due respect, you already know that, bro. And I got family. I got an older brother, man. He's a minister, man. And I'm saying, he will not talk to me about certain things. Not because I'm opinionated, but because my experiences tell me as a human being, some things ain't for me, man. You know, I'm not going to be able to comprehend how you do. I'm not going to allow myself to be, allow something to attach itself to me that I don't think is right, you know? But, you know, we as a people, first, we have to accept each other as we are, man. And I mean in their natural self, man. We have to find that part or that place when we deal with one another, when we deal with each other, man. We're not dealing with us because there are attachments that attracts us to something. You know what I'm saying? That's to get down, you know. That's to get down, bro. So I'm gonna read what you're saying because, you know, and like I said, I know you're a solid brother. Okay, let me say, you say it's not about religion, bro. It's all about unity. I don't care about a religion. I'm talking about a way of life. I said an example, not chose a religion, not choose a religion, bro. Who shows a better example of love and unity for their people? It's not about religion. You asked about an example, remember? I'm not advocating any religion, period. I'm advocating Black unity. However, you impose Islam in the conversation. Is that, you say it's a way of life, or is it a religion? What is it? You know what I mean? But in any respect, there's attachments to that. There are attachments to that. You know what I mean? And those attachments, in a lot of ways, bro, it's no different from any other, faith tenet, way of life, man, that has a dictate to it that does not allow human beings to be themselves. That's the problem. And I get what you're saying. I hear you. You say, hey, man, but there's love and unity in this construct. Man, there's love and unity in us, period. 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 We have just been separated from that, man. From that natural energy, man, to love one another, to unify, man, especially in the time of need, man, to identify with each other. We just been removed from that. And I'm telling you, that's we got that in its purest form, without attachments, without anything. We just have to, hey, man, it's in us to be every bit of that naturally. Real spit, bro. Again, yeah, man, I'm just saying though, bro, we got to figure out as a unit how to go. We have to figure out, but again, the individual has to understand that this is something that you're going to be a part of this. Then, hey, man, boom, you got to be real from jump. And then we all got to be able to, that vibe, like I say, that frequency just got to be right. And we know what's right. Let's go. It's time to move. That's what's going to matter. That I think is the example, our unity, our identity, our love, man. That's it. And I know you are. You've all heard, yeah, Black first though, bro. Real spit. Black first. B60 said Christianity started in Ethiopia, but they didn't have a name for it. We are spiritual people. Outsiders didn't understand it. Yeah. Christianity is something they gave to it. Never what, yeah, man, And this is what I mean in terms of how things, well, things can be corrupted, man. You know what I mean? Especially if that energy is not right and it gets a hold of something, that energy can just alter the whole foundation and structure of something that's pure, man, into something else, man. That Christianity, man, and we using it loosely, the word Christianity, attaching it to like the brother was saying, man, just the way of life. Our people back then, man, just the way of life. There's a cold flow to it. There was not one over the other. I mean, there was some higher ups, man, but people had, hey, man, whoever they chose, and if they didn't want one, they didn't have one. But yeah, you ain't lying about that, B60, man. It started in Ethiopia, man, this thing that they call Christianity, man. And for whatever reason, they saw fit to change it, man. They changed it for, I think, 2 reasons. One was its control mechanism to control people. The other, man, was about money. Is it? My brother says, man, Donald said, white folks gave us a script from day one and we ran with it. Yet we're afraid to try our hand with our own people. And what's grip? Well, yeah, man, I don't know. I think, like conversations like this for those who are in that boom, they get down. My thing is I don't want to, 'cause, man, first and foremost, man, love and respect, man. I'm gonna give it because that's what I think I carry myself like that. You dig? So I'm be mindful of what comes out of my mouth for the most. I'll be mindful about what comes out of my mouth, man. Even when I just let some shit go, But hey, man, everything, man, is not gonna be for everybody. You know what I mean? Like you just said, man, we're not gonna have brothers, man, that want to come and be a part of something that's so righteous. That's the reality, That's the reality, man. Sad, but that's the reality. Flami Kisiko. That's what you said, Flami Kiso or Flami Kis. I'm gonna call you Fly Me, man. All right, I see you up in this get out, man. Peace and blessings, you and yours, all right? Yeah. Al, what it do, loved one? His salutations, bub, you and the queen and the entire RGC. Peace and love, black people. B1 equals black first. Catching in, but I'm here. Yeah, man, we just chopping it up, man. I ran across something today, Al, man, and I was taken aback by it, man. So we're sitting up here with last 48 hours, last 72 hours, man, actually longer than that now, cheering on Iran. Go Iran, get them, man. Bomb their ass to smithereens, man. Come to find out, man, Iran got just as much love for us than the Zionist regime and, United States government or any European. Can't stand us. Got Afro-Iranians over there, man, living in abject poverty, man. Treat them like shit. Just treat them bad, man. The lowest of the low in that society. Got them hidden away, man. Then erased their history, how they got there, Come to find out they didn't free slaves in Iran until 1929, bro. You talk about, the Zionist regime, what they're doing, how they've treated blacks, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, in the hell with all y'all. I really mean that. Yeah, it pissed me off, man, but I'm good. That was the conversation. I shared a clip, man, from Black History Archives. I think that was the site. Very insightful, man. I'm informative and educational. So, that fits this get down, man. But that was how the conversation started out. Again, when this is over, everybody, in an hour or so, less than an hour, you can go on YouTube and watch it again, man. And I'm hoping that everyone does, man. Please, when it goes to YouTube, go there, like, share, comment, follow, and subscribe, man. It would do us, a lot of good. We would appreciate it. All right. That is the direction is to get out now, man. We want to go in the direction of being informative and educational, man. We want to speak to the issues of black people. We want to be one first here. That's all we want to be about initially, because we think until we get it together, it's going to be all bad, man. So we got to look out for us, man. We got to make sure we do those things that we need to do that's going to not only support, prop us up, man, but take care of us first. That's it, So, the script out, man. Appreciate seeing you up in here, man. I hope you catch up with that, from the beginning, boom. But yeah, I was asking a question to one of the brothers, Al, actually to the whole RGC. What do we need to do, black men especially, but black men and women, in any of our communities, man, all over this so-called great state, man? What do we need to do, man, to get it to the point where brothers are able to? We got to stop talking about some stuff, but getting to the meat and bones of it. What do we initiate first, to get this thing to going? What needs to be done first, bro? How do we get ourselves or put ourselves in motion? Where do we find the movement, man, to make some shit start to materialize, That was the question, man. So hopefully you got an answer for that, man. You know, I appreciate how you get down, man. And another thing about us, man, when we touching bases, man, up in here, we're focused on the focus, man. We are down to get down, just get down. Black first, B1 equals black first, man. I'm saying all that to say this, man. Even when we don't agree, our love is still abound. You know what I mean? The respect, and not just the desire, man, but just the need to still want to unify our people is great. It doesn't change nothing, man, because we don't always agree, Our work, man, is bringing us together, man. We can disagree, but because we disagree does not mean we cannot come together and get some work done. All right? That's all I want to say on that. All right, Kimberly, I see you, my sister. You said, I've been watching IUIC in the classroom. We need to all watch. Some brown people the Most High did not choose. He's using the white man to confuse us. But us brown people want to be just like them. And that's how we started out. Well, after a few minutes, we got into that, Kimberly. That is the problem. Donald Mandebro said, man, some of us want to be Americanized. And I replied, yeah, that's also a part of what, being westernized. We want to assimilate. We want to identify with our oppressors, man. And that's sad. But then again, it is, but a lot of us don't get that, man. It's just, it's indoctrination. It's conditioning. You know what I mean? It's the fact that we have been trained to think of ourselves as inferior, that who we are and how we are, we want to be what they are, and that's crazy because they want to be what we are. You know what I mean? I don't want to admit it, they want to do everything we do. You ask them, you want to be black? Who in here want to be black? You hear crickets, but want to do everything we want to do. But we have people, I imagine you can put them in our auditorium like, who in here wants to be white? Who wish they were white? I ain't going to finish the rest of that, but yeah, this is what we're up against, man. And this is a real fight. It's a real fight. So it's going to take all kinds of us brothers and sisters, whether we faith-based, whether we have a certain script we live by, this part, of how we live life, what I'm saying, or whatever. It's going to take all kinds, man, for us to get it together. That's just it, man. Donald said, man, if I would have said Christianity or any other religion, would that have made a difference? We don't see, nor do we know how to love one another, bro. Why do you think we look for guidance? Our words give me a better example of what we should do as a people that still work. We're talking about examples. Okay. You could have said it doesn't, you didn't have to say Islam. You know what I mean? You could have just said, hey, man, in terms of, how to get shit together, here's an example, that conversation would have, it would have went differently. But you did instill Islam as an example. And I was saying, hey, man, yeah, that's cool and everything. That's fine, Yeah, teach his own. But what about us who have whatever thoughts we have about whatever? Islam, Christianity, any of them. What about those who feel like I don't need that to be with my people? All I need to do is, get my people to understand that, man, we are the best example of what love should be. Unity, respect, without any attachments or without anything that pushes us to think and feel this way. This is something that's supposed to be natural in us. That's all I'm saying. So I get what you're going through. I hear you. But really, I don't think for a lot of us, man, that it matters one way or the other. And if a lot of us do, then again, that's on them. But what is the objective? What is the objective? And how do we reach it? How do we get to that? That's all I'm asking. you know. The examples are bound. I said that, bro. They come in all kind of form and fashion. It takes all kinds. It takes all kinds, bro. You know, that's just real, man. And again, you may be right in a lot of respects, man. A lot of us may be afraid to try our hand with our people. You know what I mean? With our own people, do our thing. You know, that's more than a possibility. That's spot on. You know, spot on. Al said, man, all religions are man-made. Christianity is a European concept. It was not created in any part of Africa, respectfully. And that's how we get our answer. And I always, when he gonna drop a lug, he always say respectfully. Gotta appreciate that. Gotta love that, man. Now, and if anybody disagree with what Al said, that's fine. And I think that's part of what touching bases with the people is. It's the fact that we are not gonna always agree with whatever the dialogue is, the discussion, or the conversation. And that's the beauty in us as a people, man. That's what makes us us, you know. Your shit. You going to say Donald says, man, hold on, let me get to that, because okay, why do you think, for a guy, hold on, did I miss something? Oh no, I read that part. You say our words give me a better example of what we give me a better example of what we should do as a people that will work. We're talking about examples. Exactly. And I said, and just in terms of getting us to work together, man, I asked a question initially, and I'm not going to ask it if I don't have an answer myself. I thought that one of the examples to get us to come together, right, of what will work, will help us to get to where we need to be, man. I've always said this first and foremost. This is always something I've always said, is communication. That's the issue we have with each other. We don't know how to communicate. One, we tend to communicate better with others than we do with ourselves. You agree? All right, there's that. Now, with communication, though, at some point we have to stop talking. What is the objective, and how do we go about, accomplishing our goals? I said, I asked a question, but I also said, okay, man, there's this time when we have to get out, man, and start talking to those who need to be, spoken with. I say, man, I think I need to be, a mentor, because I think there's a certain range or age range, our brothers and sisters, that needs to be reached. We got some old fools too, we got some old fools. I don't mean to call the young ones fools. They just maybe a little more ignorant. They ain't growing to fools just yet, just ignorant. But mentoring our brothers and sisters in the streets, man, is one way, because I think those are the ones we need to actually reach. Especially those of us who say or tend to think that we know better, or we can give them an example of what to miss, what not to miss, you know what I mean, and how to go about life avoiding these obstacles in the way. Communication is first, man, and then involvement with those who we are trying to communicate with. I think that's the best way to go. That's how you set this thing up, and from that, things grow. It starts to mature. There's a nurturing taking place. We can see some type of growth. I said, man, this brother, Miz, man, he's knocking the ball out the park, because he's no longer talking about something. He's out there reaching out, man. This is one of the ways, man, to get us to come together. We got to be willing to go out and reach these brothers who a lot of people say are unreachable, and I hope that's satisfactory for you, bro. But that's me. That's me saying that, All right. All right. Hey, don't start that shit, Ra. I butchered this shit, man. You said Medu Nader per Eru is our holy scripture. The Odu Ifa is another African script. All right. Kimberly says, I'm so sick of seeing black ladies. I'm glad you said it first. I swear I'm glad you said it first, man. I appreciate that. Kimberly says, I'm so sick of seeing black ladies, black women with blonde, straight, fake, long fake hair, long eyelashes, and nails. Brown men with other races. These kids are so disrespectful, calling their mother bro. I had to check a kid. Ain't that something? It was shit. You know, I just saw some stuff on YouTube where the mama was calling the kids bro. All right. So where are they getting this from? They getting it from the adults, man. Bro. You know, a kid calling his mama or daddy bro. You know, a mother calling her child bro. Come on, man. Yeah, the shit's getting out of hand. Now, that being said, the eyelashes, that's just the most goofiest thing. I'm going to tell you, and I appreciate you saying it first. Respectfully, I'm going to say this because you know, you dropped that. But all this old baby doll, Cupid doll here, Betty Boop shit going on, all this shit, man, is just, it's all bad, man. The eyelashes, I swear, man, I saw a sister with eyelashes. They had to be at least 4 inches. You know, and I'm thinking, okay, for what purpose? What, it dawned on me. Again, I said this earlier too about people. A lot of us just seek attention, you know, and we do things thinking that if we do them, we'll get attention or we'll be accepted, you know. We end up getting the wrong type of attention, you know, or we, you know, end up believing or thinking that we've been accepted because we're looking like fools. Now, the long straight hair, the blonde shit and all that, man, that's the worst. That's the worst. You know, that's worse, man. You know, it's even worse when I see sisters have their bald heads and it's all blonde. It doesn't, I'm like, you know, now they got this color where it's gray, you know, and I'm like, beautiful sisters. Just don't want to be natural. Don't want to let that real energy do what it do. Want to cover it up. Want to cover it up. Some of these wigs just look terrible. Stop it. Stop it. You know, shave your head, whatever, but stop it. The bonnets. Everywhere you look now, these sisters, young and old, got this shit on their head outside in house shoes and pajamas. Stop it, man. Al says, man, Africans have no friends. As the great scholar Dr. Ben stated, Africans have no friends, people. This is why it's important to understand what B1 means. This is why it's important to embrace it. We got us. That's it. That's all, man. That's it. That's all. Ain't nothing else, man, for us. Ain't nobody going to save us. No one's going to help us. Only thing other people would do with us is exploit or use us or kill us. It's facts. Just think about it, man. Rakufu said, man, Americans can't stand us. Israel, Iran, Iraq, the whole Middle East, Palestine, and most importantly, we can't stand ourselves. That's the African dilemma, y'all. And again, that is conditioning. That is indoctrination. That is being told you are inferior. Not you per se, but yeah, that do. But all those who came before you, who suffered through what we, you know, the peculiar institution and anything before that. You've been told, we've been told, it's in our DNA to some extent that we are inferior. We tend to think that. A lot of times people don't even have to say it. I watch everywhere I go, man. You know, I watch brothers, you know, and that, you know, I tend to want to check out how they interact with others. So damn respectful. Yes, sir. You know, just and it seems so oh my God, what's the word for that, man? It just seems so, you know, timid. timid. And every time they want to throw a fake smile, yes, sir. Want to show their teeth, buck their eyes and shit. Like, hey, man, what you doing? Ain't nobody, man. There's another, hey, man, what's up? Hey, how you doing? You know, it's always the extra shit, man. And I think that is because it's just been ingrained in us, instilled in us that, you know, we're the lowest of the low, you know, we're inferior to everybody. And a lot of people, they show this, man, and how they act, how they carry themselves. And some sad stuff. We cannot stand ourselves, man. This is why, yeah, and I get what you're saying, but this is why we see what we see with a lot of our queens trying to change the way they look because they don't love the way they look. You know, we got brothers like that. Don't love that they brothers. Don't love that they are men. You know what I mean? Sisters like that don't love the fact that they are women. You know? Sad shit, man. Sad shit. Rakufu, you're going to say, man, if we unify under our base, first American selves, we can step in to this political arena as a powerhouse and revive and live a freer, productive life. That's the whole point of the conversation. You know, one was to show this video, man, and show how we're being treated. Just as black people, period. All right. This is the treatment, you know. Okay, now how do you combat that? Obviously, man, something been put in effect where these people think that they deserve what they're getting. That didn't even go for us, y'all. You know, so we got to start, man, educating ourselves. We got to start again when we talk about brothers, man. You know, loving each other. We first have to love ourselves. When we talk about brothers respecting one another, we first have to respect ourselves. When we talk about brothers taking care of other brothers, we brothers and sisters have to first know how to take care of ourselves. This is what we remove from, man. This is why we see everything we see, man, about our people. Yeah, it's a conditioning. It's a cold indoctrination. Learned behavior, man. We have been taught to act this way about ourselves and to treat other people better than us or better than we treat ourselves or as though they are better than us. Sad shit, man. So when will we come out of our loved one Donald say, so when will we come out of our indoctrination? Because I'm tired. Man, that's, you know, that would make about quite a few million of us. I think that happens, man, again, when we accept, like the brother was just saying, both the brothers was just saying, when we understand that we are all we have, man. We don't tend to think that way. We tend to think that some of these people are for us. We tend to think that, you know, we tend to think it from the highest level down to the lowest, that some of these people are for us until we get to the point, man, where we start to understand we are all we have. And then we need each other. We need each other just as human beings, just as melanated people, man. No, that nothing else. You know, we need each other, man. This is what makes the unit strong. You know, this would, yeah, right? Man, that's when. That is when, man, the indoctrination of the black mind, man, starts to lose its hold. We start to break chains, man, that got our minds encased and locked away, man. That's when we come to appreciate ourselves individually in order to be able to appreciate the next man, you know what I mean, or woman. It starts with self, man. We got to clean out this first. We got to do self-work first. We started on the book, man, Naeem Akbar, man. When we once upon a time we had a book club going, Know Thyself, right? And it just broke it down. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we want to get to where we're supposed to be as people. Then first we got to put work in on ourselves. We got to know who we are, man. And why. Once you do that, you're going to know why you're doing what you're doing. You know? The genetics actually demand it. Yeah, we're all tired, homie. Super tired. Shit. I'll say, man, if we could put the titles aside, that would be a good start. Thank you. And I said that coming in, it's been said also. Hey, man, I don't care where you're from, red or blue. I don't care about none of that, man. Hey, brother. Hey, black man. Hey, melanated person. You know, again, man, we assimilate. We say and do things like they do. And that's really unnatural for us, man. You know, if we have put aside, man, and because what that creates is division. It creates differences. And a lot of them are unnecessary. You know, divide and conquer, man, cold peace, man. So I appreciate you saying that out, man. If we could put the titles aside, that would be a good start. All right. We separate ourselves into too many subgroups. We need solidarity first and foremost. Keep your chosen belief systems, but sit it aside. All right, man. Sit it aside. And you're going to say, excuse me, let me do that. Keep your chosen belief systems, but sit it aside. All right. When nation building, religious beliefs are personal. No one needs to even know your personal spiritual journey. That's between you and your chosen God, respectfully. Neither religion has moved the needle for us. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate seeing that. Appreciate reading that. Appreciate that being in the atmosphere. All right. That is no different than, well, I don't mean respectfully. That's no different than being Republican or Democrat. Neither one has moved the needle for us. Straight up. Lisa Moore says, black first, man. Rakufu said, man, I said our African selves, not our American selves. Did I say that? Hey, all right, bro. Our African selves, all right? Yeah, I get it. I get it. If I said that, I'm pretty sure FBA was very happy. I don't know. I don't know, man. Respectfully, though, bro. I hear you loud and clear. Hey, listen, everybody. I appreciate the time I spend with you guys. You got to know that, man. Rakufu, good night. Peace and blessings, bro. You end by saying we can't get around the fact that we are an African people, and being African is the reason we're at war. All right. Now, that being said, listen, everybody, man, peace and blessings. Appreciate you guys coming in. Like, share, comment, follow, man. Subscribe to Under the Groove Podcast. All right. This right here is what we call touching bases with the people every Monday through Friday. All right. 6:15, 8:15 or so. Here we are. All right. Also, focus on the focus. Focus on the focus. And we suggest that focus should be B1. That should be black first. That focus. That would include yourself. So focus on the focus. All right. When you do, you'll be equipped. You'll be ready, man, to get down with whatever the get down is. All right. That being said, power is in the people. All right. Can't get power to us, man. We already got it. It's already in us. We just ain't figured out how to wield it yet. But power is in the people. All right. Take care of yourselves. So that you could take care of each other. Love yourself first and foremost. Love you first. Because that's the only way you'll be able to love someone else who looks just like you. Once you appreciate love of self, you appreciate loving your brothers and sisters. All right. That being said, you have been, and you will be under the groove. Take care of yourselves so that you can take care of others. All right. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hurston writing future history. From the Apollo to the Borough to the Sphere. where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transformed suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. It's in the sergeant, this is once a less than. Had this had to send messages. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive, watch the applause for polls. Need your data, tropes, and counseling. They problem when the wet just wanna build the season. Bait, now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the times. Plead the markets off the main. Make it honor fans. Turn the neck and love the dirt. Suffer like the kesha. You went from the preaching up on side. It's each alone, bitch on the shit. And untrue seeing vets. Someone the very it's on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bound of it. If wait, something for the moderate to keep them from the club and saw the boards to the single land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break your channel, resi for the he and let the peasant be. It's every time we keep a spawn.